Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Suburban Soundwaves. Our guest this month is Rob Paparozzi. Rob, that was an incredible performance.
Thanks.
Thanks for doing that for us. We'll be looking forward to another performance at the end of the show. Watching you perform, and I've seen you perform probably hundreds of times over the last 20 years or so, I've always had the impression that you are one of the most exciting and animated performers I've ever seen. It seems to me that when I watch you perform, performing is something you not only enjoy doing, but there's a need there to perform. Would you agree with my assertion?
I think you got it right. Yeah, there's something about the magic of being up on stage for me, you know, and it's definitely a communication thing. It's the best way I know how to communicate. I mean, I can communicate much better through my harmonica and with my music than I can with any kind of dialogue. So I'll try and do my best up here, but that's where I feel most comfortable.
This instrumentation that we had for this show is really kind of different for you. I'm used to seeing you with a large band. Usually you have a full rhythm section. You like to play with a horn section too. That's something that you've always tried to incorporate in your live performances.
Right, right. In fact, the footage we were looking at before at Delta 88 in New York was with the Uptown Horns who, you know, they were out playing with the Stones on their last tour and stuff like that. I like big horn sections. Mm-hmm. If we can afford to use them on a job, I'm always trying to get them. If I can't, I'll use one sax or whatever I can get. But I like the sound of horns. I have arrangements for horns, and I think there's definitely a need in this type of music for that.
Right.
That kind.
If someone were to try to venture out to see a Rob Paparozzi performance, where might you be playing?
Well, there's not as many places around as there used to be, as you know. We used to do some shows around the Union County area. But maybe the Old Bay in New Brunswick, maybe the Cove in Roselle, we might put on a special show over there. Or maybe a special benefit type show that Steve Shohfi might produce for some needy kids around the area, or something, World Hunger, as we've done in the past.
Right.
We might be around doing, we always are up for doing a local benefit type thing where somebody's going to get some help from it. And then in Manhattan, Manny's Car Wash or Metropolis, and different places around town.
And how do you get the word out, Rob? I know, let's talk about the Honey Dripper a little bit. Honey Dripper is something you've, I guess, started many years ago and kept alive for a long time. Let's broaden the audience a little bit. Yeah,
it's the way that we can kind of let people know where we're playing as the Hudson River Rats or whatever band I might be working with at the time. The Honey Dripper was started about almost 20 years ago, and it's just a newsletter that I try and write about local blues artists or national blues artists. It's give a little bit of history about who I'm writing about, and then also plug the band where we're going to be and the different settings, whether me and John Korb are going to do a duo somewhere, or whether the Hudson River Rats will be with a 10-piece band, or maybe even if I'm sitting in with the Johnny Charles Blues Band or Billy Hector's band or somebody, I would plug that in the newsletter. And also, and it's a great way for me to stay in touch with my 1,000+ people that I've got on the mailing list over the past couple of years. It's a great way because you never know who's going to come out.
Right.
You might come out, and I haven't seen you in a while. And
well, because 2 children keep me home now. You know, I'm not out. It's not as easy for me to slip out as much anymore.
I don't see you as much.
But you know, the heart is still there.
Yes.
When you play on an album for a major star, the Bobby McFerrin album that you just did, Cyndi Lauper, Judy Collins, how much freedom do you get to express yourself musically? Is it note for note when you go in, or do the producers of the albums give you some freedom?
It's a little of both. Sometimes the producers will give you the leeway, and sometimes they want it note for note. Generally, the bigger the artist, the more leeway you get. It depends on the producer, though. When I did the Roberta Flack session, Arif Martin, who's a famous Atlantic producer, was there, and he had a specific idea in mind. They were trying to copy a Stevie Wonder type sound. So there, I have to go in and I've got to do the call. I may have played it a little different, but I had to kind of play the notes that were written for me. And a Judy Collins thing or the Cyndi Lauper thing, they give you a little bit more freedom because they're a little bit more rock-based and not as slick, and they depend on your musicianship. So you do have flexibility. Depending on Bobby McFerrin was fantastic. Let me do whatever I wanted to do. So it depends on the artist and the producers.
Is it a big kick for you to work in these big studios with the top name producers?
Yeah, it's a thrill. It's really a thrill. These are studios that I used to see, and producers and artists that I used to see on records when I was coming up, and to be able to go in there and play with artists and even the other accompanying musicians, it just thrills me to no end. I really enjoy, and I play better when I'm out there playing with these kind of players.
Who's Rob Paparozzi listening to these days? Who do you listen to? Who's making an impact with you?
Well, mostly the Larry King Show. That's a big impact. No, music-wise, these days I've been kind of getting back to a lot of older stuff again. I tend to go back to a lot of older jazz kind of things. So I'm listening to a lot more Duke Ellington and Louis Jordan again, who I've been through his whole book already, but I'm listening to a lot of re-recorded stuff. Now with CDs out,
everything's coming back, right?
Compiled stuff. And I said, wow, I never heard that, you know, Coleman Hawkins thing or that Louis Jordan thing, and you're getting it on CD now. So,
well, talking about CDs, let's talk a little bit about your CD that has been recently released. What can you tell us about it?
Well, the CD was released last year, and it's on 3B's Music, which is Bernard Purdy's record company, and it's the Hudson River Rats featuring Bernard Purdy, who's a legendary session drummer who's played with a lot of different people. And we're kind of featuring...
Including the Beatles.
Including the Beatles and the Stones. We're featuring his drum style. So a lot of the tunes like Cleveland and some of the other tunes that we do were kind of almost written with him in mind. There's even a tribute to Bernard Purdy called Bernie's Done It Again.
Right. That's got to be a big kick to be playing with somebody like him. He must have a lot of stories.
He does.
Well, I tell you, I think that it's certainly been a great pleasure having you here today with us. It's been a big thrill for me, and we're going to look forward to another performance when we're coming back from break. What are you going to do for us this time?
I think we're going to do an old song from the late '30s by Eddie Miller called "I'd Rather Drink Muddy Water."
Okay,
you've heard me play.
That's absolutely, and I'll hear it one more time.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, our pleasure. We'll be right back in just a moment. Stay with us.